It's Susan Lee. It's only me talking. So.
Should have been a woman.
I should have been a woman. Hello, and I am very sorry I'm late. We were on a certain topic, and we were on about our exes. That was a really interesting topic, and thank you very much for joining in. It was really good. Now, I have got someone here who joins me nearly every week, the wonderful Mark Memphis. Yes, baby. The only one that's Elvis. Mark, how are you?
I'm fine. Steve, how are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Good.
Right. Okay. I asked you the other day, well, yesterday or the day before, I can't remember, um, what we were going to talk about.
hmm
And what did you say?
I think it'd be a useful, um, a useful program if we were to discuss things like changing your behaviour, managing your coping mechanisms for
Yeah.
depression and anxiety. Try to shed a positive light on the whole dark thing.
Okay. So, how do you cope with your depression or your mental ill?
First of all, and I'm talking about us all here, not just me.
Yeah.
We all need to be very aware that it's there, it's part of us, it's something that we live with, and it's not necessarily something that we should suffer with. Um, we all we're all presented, all of us, every day with the scenario of it being a brand new day where anything is more or less possible
Yeah.
for yourself. And you should try to remember that, because that's quite an easy thing to forget when you're feeling down, depressed, when you're full of despair. You can't see beyond where you are at that moment in time. And, I know that as much as anybody. It's important to try and keep in mind that, to some degree you are the master of your own destiny, and you have a number of choices every day, even though they're not obvious. You can decide for yourself that today is going to be the day when you are going to raise your mood up a level, and try to find a way to do that. Try to focus less on what has been bothering you for the past week, month, year, or whatever it is, because nothing in life truly lasts forever.
No, of course not.
You all of us, you know, for those who are watching who may be in a particularly bad place at the moment, as we all find ourselves in, just put that to one side for just a moment and think back to something that happened in your life which was equally terrible. It could have been your first girlfriend or your first boyfriend telling you that they didn't want to be with you anymore, or you found out that they've cheated on you. It could be your parents going through a divorce. It could be being bullied at school. It could be a terrible job that you once found yourself chained to and you thought there was no escape. I think everybody has that kind of terrible situation that's happened to them, but you've moved on from it, and you've progressed. And like I say, nothing terrible in life lasts forever in the same way that nothing good in life lasts forever. That's life. It moves on. People come, people go, places, present themselves, and you leave those places. And like I say, I think it's very, very easy to forget that. And I've been in positions where I've forgotten it, where I've chosen to I've put the old blinkers on, and everything that's happening to me is, in the here and now. That's all I can see, and it's not necessarily true.
Yeah. Do you deal with anxiety a lot?
Yeah. It's the foundation, I think, of my personal mental health problems. Is that anxiety? Always worried about something, not trusting life to be good and to be kind. Although I'm getting much, much better at that. But I went through it.
What do you mean about not trusting life to be kind? Is it because people have let you down in the past, or?
Well, yeah, and also because the anxiety within, there doesn't, you don't trust. You're in a place, a mental place which is good. You're not worried too much about anything. You've got a roof over your head. You've got money coming in. You're with somebody who's amazing. You couldn't ask for anything more. And if you're somebody who suffers with anxiety, it's very, very easy to not trust that. You're waiting for that good place to become a bad place, for that amazing partner to become the partner from hell. And then that can, snowball into this massive, massive thing. And you can end up, absolutely tearing yourself apart mentally with it. And you can create problems for yourself. Like I say, the anxiety isn't necessarily connected as such to depression. From my point of view, it's just a very, very, it's been a lifelong foundation of who and what I am.
Yeah.
And I still don't trust life to be, I'm still waiting for someone to pull the ground out from under my feet. I'm still waiting for something bad around the corner.
Yeah.
I rationalize it, and I'm getting much, much better at not living under that apprehension. Apprehension, that's the word, isn't it? But that kind of expectation. But again, it's all about it's all about changing the way you think, and it's also about finding new ways to cope, and to some degree realizing that you do have choices and options in life.
Yeah. How much do you suffer with stress quite a bit?
With what? Sorry.
Do you suffer with stress quite a bit?
Yes. And again, it's all tied to the anxiety. I've spoken to you before about certain situations I'll find myself in. Like I said, I hate shopping. I absolutely hate shopping.
Yeah, you're not the only one.
And I've now I don't do a weekly big shop. I do a monthly mega shop, and I'm very pleased with myself as I'm going around, because I'm planning for the month ahead, and I just want to get to the checkout. I thought it's happened a couple of times now. I've completely fallen apart because I cannot cope with the absolute mass of things I'm throwing onto that checkout belt, and having to pack it and everything. And I can get quite overwhelmed by it, and I can get stressed, and it's silly. It's absolutely silly.
I know. You know what I usually get? I usually get stressed out when you're like in the queue and you get served, and all of a sudden you've got to start packing, and there's a great big queue waiting for you to move off.
Mm.
You know, it's very stressful, isn't it?
Well, it is. I mean, I get myself into a pickle because I'm thinking that because I pay by card, my card isn't going to work. That happened once because of a faulty card reader at the supermarket. I'm now convinced that that's going to happen again,
Yeah.
where I had to leave the supermarket with empty-handed and create all this terrible work for somebody to. That's the police helicopter. I think they've come for me. Can you hear that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But so it's silly things like that which are ingrained in me, and I have to be rational. The last time it happened, I told myself, "Well, yeah, but think about it this way: you won't be coming back here next week or the week after, or even the week after that. Happy days, and you can change the way you approach things."
Of course you can. Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you what I want you to do. I want to watch a video.
Hmm.
If I can get it on nice. And let's hang on. Let me get this up quick. Sorry about this.
Here's an activity to help you with this. You'll need coloured pens and some paper. Start by drawing an outline of a person in the middle of the paper. Around it, write all the things that might cause you to feel stressed. Now, think about how you feel. Use a different colour pen to answer these questions. Where in your body do you feel the stress? Mark that place inside the outline. How does stress affect your emotions? Write the words around the outline. How does stress make you act? Write those words around the outline too. And finally, what makes you feel better when you feel stressed? Again, write these words around the outline. By exploring your stress, you can discover ways to feel better. Being kind to yourself can make a big difference. When you've finished, pause and ask yourself, what have you learned? What might you do differently now you have done this activity?
There you go.
Hmm.
Now, why I mentioned that for it is because why I wanted to show you that is because stress can kind of be a one great big main, factor where when you've got like depression or you've got kind of like you're really stressed out and what it can do, it can really stress you out to a boiling point where like you might tip over.
Mm.
And the trouble is, we've got to find that way of coping to get out of that situation that we're in.
Yeah.
Do you ever kind of like get the moments when you're sitting down or something and watching telly, and all of a sudden like a stupid thought comes into your head, like you want to do something stupid, or you think I hate myself, I don't want to do this. You kind of like completely um, give up on yourself. You
Not
ever get like
watching
that?
television. Yeah, I've done that. Not watching television. I've had moments like that in bed at night when I can't sleep.
Yeah,
You know, because I can be my own worst enemy sometimes, and my own worst enemy likes to come and torment me at 2 a.m. with thoughts like that. But what was said in that little video you've just watched there was very, very good in terms of breaking the whole thing down and because it can be very, very absorbing. Can stress, it just completely washes over you. You become irrational. You become the panic sets in. Not necessarily panic attacks, but that whole thing creeps in where you become quite irrational, like I say. And it's all about breaking it down. Like I was saying with the thing with the shopping, you know, take it out of your head that the card isn't going to work. Take it out of your head that there might be people queuing behind you while you're trying to pack. So what?
Mm.
You know, you've as much right to. They've got two choices. They can either wait there, or they can find they can go and queue behind somebody who might be a little faster. It's not your problem.
Yeah.
But when you're stressed and when the anxiety is really, really grabbing you and shaking you, thoughts like that don't come into it. You're just totally blinded by this sense of panic. And it's like I said, like what the video said as well, you know, one of the plus points of me putting myself through that trauma, which is a terrible way to look at it, because I'm calamitizing it. Even talking to you now, I realize that I am making a massive deal out of the fact that I'm doing this monthly big shop. Why am I doing that? Because that's how I think. That's, you know, it's ingrained. But what I should be thinking of is, yeah, like I say, I won't be coming here next week or for the next 2 weeks after that. Happy days. I can do something else on a Monday instead of coming down here every Monday morning religiously to do the weekly shop. And when you break down your little, you know, the little things that are all conspiring against you, when you look at them rationally, really, by and large, they're non-existent. They're either based on something that might have happened to you once. We all have things that happen to us. You know, we can all be unlucky where we can we're walking down the street not realising our shoelaces or one of the shoelaces is untied and we fall over. People laugh at us. You know, that's probably happens to absolutely everybody. Walking in the snow, slipping and sliding, everyone laughing at you. Eating a fish butty at Whitby and a seagull comes down and swoops and grabs your fish butty and the whole resort is laughing at you. But these things happen to all of us. That's not, you know, that shouldn't be the reason to never have a fish butty in Whitby again. What you do is you find yourself a little doorway perhaps and you look around, you know, you
sit in the car.
or sit in the car, yeah. But that's what it's about. Don't, you know, we can let things run away with them. We can let experiences. Yeah. So
I think sometimes we make mountains out of molehills, don't we?
we do, indeed.
Yeah, and we kind of like, we're so wrapped up in ourselves, we're thinking, oh, well, this is happening again. Like your shopping type thing. Now, my wife will tell you, I do not like shopping, right? And she does the shopping. I say to her, go shopping, and that's it. And she does it. Now, I went up there the other day with my friend, my carer, and I was up there and I was messing about in the supermarket. And they said, can you hurry up, please? I was on my scooter type thing. Can you hurry up, please? And I'm thinking, I was looking around, I was going, who's that? And there were some people behind me, queue. I said, no, I'm trying to. And what I do is I wind them up now. What I do is I go to the sweet counter. You know when you get to the checkout and you got all that chocolate there and
very wise.
Go, oh, that's nice. That's really good. Can you hurry up, please? I've got an appointment in a minute. I need a configure. Can I go in front of you? No. I've been waiting for about 5 minutes. So, and when you get to the till, it's like you've got to pack. You know, you pack in and everything. And I'm just going, that going to that bag, that going to that bag. You know, and you take the time. You know, so what?
Well, that's it. That's about the coping mechanism that you found there, which is to have a bit of you know, to say, you know, to make light of it, but also, you know, you're going to it's your time at the checkout. It'll be their time after you've gone, and there's not, you know, unless it's a corner shop that, you know, there's more than one checkout. They can always move and find somewhere else, and it's important to try to put these things into your head, especially when you're feeling stressed. And likewise, when you're feeling depressed and when you're feeling that like all hope has gone and you're in complete and utter despair. It's about finding different ways to cope with it. And if it's to make light of the situation and to play, to adopt a persona of somebody who's like, oh, I'm not bothered, you know, kind of thing. If that's what gets you through it, you know, good luck to you. You're not doing anybody any harm. You know, they should have set off and gone shopping earlier if they had to be somewhere and in a matter of minutes.
Oh yeah, yeah. Have you ever been in the car park where you kind of like park the car and all of a sudden you've been going around for a long time and someone nicks your spot and you think, oh, I'm gonna get them, I'm gonna get them, and it's like it's stressed out. You get so stressed out because you've been going around that car, and that doesn't help too, does it?
I mean, I'm learning to drive at the moment, so I've not had I've experienced it sat in the passenger seat with a driver that's got stressed about it. But driving is so stressful, isn't it? It can be. It can be a right containment of anxiety, and that, it's a similar thing really to like checkouts, because I'm doing driving lessons at the moment, and I've had the odd person, you know, inches away from the back of the car I'm in, or trying to intimidate me to go faster and all the rest of it. I'm not going to say I'm in my own complete world and I'm oblivious to everything. So you can't be like that when you're driving. Now I end up failing my driving lesson if I adopt that. But it's the whole thing about, no, if you want to get past me, you overtake if you want, or what have you. And it's about telling yourself that you have a right to, you have a right to be there. But anyway, that's bad about. That's a different thing.
Yes, of course it is. But the trouble is, how do you think that we should cope with everything that's going around with us, with our mental illness, our stress and everything? What do you reckon?
Again, always bear it in mind. Try to keep it in mind that you are, to some degree, the master of your own destiny. You might not be able to change that destiny in the here and now, but you can certainly start thinking in a way that formulates a way out of where you are. I mean, it's just to remember that nothing lasts forever, and everything eventually passes. Everything, absolutely everything. Yeah. And it's easier said than done sometimes. I know that. I really do know that. But if you get into the habit and into the practice of thinking that way, like I've done, it does work, and it can work. The wheels are going to come off at some point for me, at some point down the road, and I'll have to deal with that. We've spoken, you and I, about COVID and about what it's done to the line of work that I do. And if this had have happened 5 years ago, I dread to think where I'd be. I'd probably spent the last 12 months in bed, but I've chosen not to. I've chosen to tell myself that, think things will hopefully improve. And regardless of what we've been told today,
what do you think about that? What do you think about that coming from someone who kind of like rely on, their money and everything, going out earning and everything?
I've always had it in the back of my mind since I started doing gigs again. I've had a few, or I've got a few bookings, shall I say. I've got plenty coming up over the next few months, but it's always in the back of my mind that those could be cancelled and those could be postponed because of what's going on. And to be fair to Boris Johnson, which is something I thought I'd never say in public, in a public forum like this, but people is getting a lot of heat at the moment for postponing this move out of this stage we're in and going towards freedom. They did always say back in February that the move from one stage to the next would be dependent on you know, where we were at that particular time. Now we can look back on it and take that on board. We can also look at it now and question the ethics of it, because as we all know, the hospitalizations and everything aren't going through the roof. But it being free on June the 21st wasn't promised to us. And that's really how I've coped with it, that the whole thing could, you know, that we could have the rug pulled out from under his feet, which we have done in terms of, you know, getting out of the next stage of the roadmap into freedom. That's how I've sort of like coped with it. It's like that old thing about if you expect nothing, you can't be disappointed. Only, you know, you can only be surprised if something nice does happen. That's a bit extreme, but
Yeah.
you know, what will be will be. What will be will be.
Oh yeah, yeah. Trouble is with like anything, isn't it? Like with mental health and everything. You know, it's, you know, many people think, oh no, I'm not going to suffer with mental health, but eventually we do. You know, you might not know that you're suffering with mental health.
Mm.
You know, but I think with mental health and everything, you know, it should be kind of like um, spread out far and wide, because a lot of people think, oh well, you know, what is mental health? You know, and a lot of stigma behind it. As I keep saying every week to you,
Mm-hmm.
there is a lot of stigma with it. You know.
Well, yeah, but people think, you say mental health, and most people, even people that have periods of being depressed and down and thinking negatively, when you say mental health, you tend to think of hospitals, you tend to think of institutions and asylums. I'm talking about people that don't really know. But, you know, good mental health is, you know, you can have good mental health. That isn't a detrimental thing. And suffering with mental health, it's just your, it can be your perception of the world. But, you know, it's nothing that should be stigmatized. It's nothing to be ashamed of. You know,
Right.
feeling sad and feeling down and feeling hopeless, as painful as it is natural. Is a natural brain function, and sometimes, like with anything, it's like having a sprained ankle, or it's like having, you know, another physical ailment, which I can't think of one at the moment. But sometimes you do need help, and you do need treatment, and you know, whether that's in medication or whether that's with therapy and counselling. It's, you know, and like I've said to you before, in this day and age, certainly with what's going on now, you know, we probably won't even realise how badly COVID has affected people for a while yet. You
Right.
know,
Okay.
there's probably a ticking time bomb.
Yeah, but the trouble is, we see, with anything, you know, see, mental. Why I was saying about that about mental health is because mental health comes under one big umbrella.
Yeah,
You know, I'm not saying about hospitals and stuff like that. I'm saying like even being depressed is mental health still.
yeah.
You know, so
Well, yeah. I mean, grieving is a mental health issue.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You know, it's so far reaching, and it encompasses so much. Does mental health, good mental health, and poor mental health, and it's, you know, like you say, we shouldn't ever feel ashamed, because it's a natural reaction, to grief, or to sadness, or, you know, it's there, and nobody should feel ashamed of it, and always ask for help if you need it, and
that's
always
it. Yeah, yeah,
try to remember, again, that nothing lasts forever and it'll pass.
Yeah.
Nothing stays forever. Nothing. Not even you, Steve.
No, that's it. I don't know. I'm gonna go one time, and but guess what?
What, mate?
Anything happens to me, I know where I'm going.
Are you going up or are you going down?
I'm going up, mate. I'm guaranteed a place.
Oh yeah.
Are you guaranteed a place?
Yes, I think I am, and
Good.
I'll be up there with you.
Thank you very much. Okay, what I want to do is I want to kind of like show you another video,
Okay.
and it's all about the stigma behind it all, what we've been talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm a woman with chronic schizophrenia. I've spent hundreds of days in psychiatric hospitals. I might have ended up spending most of my life on the back ward of a hospital, but that isn't how my life turned out. In fact, I've managed to stay clear of hospitals for almost 3 decades, perhaps my proudest accomplishment. That's not to say that I've remained clear of all psychiatric struggles. After I graduated from the Yale Law School and got my first law job, my New Haven analyst, Dr. White, announced to me that he was going to close his practice in 3 months, several years before I had planned to leave New Haven. White had been enormously helpful to me, and the thought of his leaving shattered me. My best friend, Steve, sensing that something was terribly wrong, flew out to New Haven to be with me. Now I'm going to quote from some of my writings. I opened the door to my studio apartment. Steve would later tell me that for all the times he had seen me psychotic, nothing could have prepared him for what he saw that day. For a week or more, I had barely eaten. I was gaunt. I walked as though my legs were wooden. My face looked and felt like a mask. I had closed all the curtains in the apartment, so in the middle of the day, the apartment was in near total darkness. The air was fetid, the room a shambles. Steve, both a lawyer and a psychologist, has treated many patients with severe mental illness, and to this day, he'll say I was as bad as any he had ever seen. Hi, I said, and then I returned to the couch where I sat in silence for several moments. Thank you for coming, Steve. Crumbling world, word, voice. Tell the clocks to stop. Time has come. White is leaving, Steve said somberly. I'm being pushed into a grave. The situation is grave, I moan. Gravity is pulling me down. I'm scared. Tell them to get away. As a young woman, I was in a psychiatric hospital on 3 different occasions for lengthy periods. My doctors diagnosed me with chronic schizophrenia and gave me a prognosis of, quote, grave. That is, at best, I was expected to live in aborted care and work at menial jobs. Fortunately, I did not actually enact that grave prognosis. Instead, I'm a chaired professor of law, psychology, and psychiatry at the USC Gould School of Law. I have many close friends, and I have a beloved husband, Will, who's here with us today. Thank you. He's definitely the star of my show. I'd like to share with you how that happened and also describe my experience of being psychotic. I hasten to add that it's my experience because everyone becomes psychotic in his or her own way. Let's start with the definition of schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a brain disease. Its defining feature is psychosis, or being out of touch with reality. Delusions and hallucinations are hallmarks of the illness. Delusions are fixed and false beliefs that aren't responsive to evidence, and hallucinations are false sensory experiences. For example, when I'm a psychotic, I often have the delusion that I've killed hundreds of thousands of people with my thoughts. I sometimes have the idea that nuclear explosions are about to be set off in my brain. Occasionally, I have hallucinations, like one time I turned around and saw a man with a raised knife. Imagine having a nightmare while you're awake. Often, speech and thinking become disorganized to the point of incoherence. Loose associations involves putting together words that may sound a lot alike but don't make sense. And if the words get jumbled up enough, it's called word salad. Contrary to what many people think, schizophrenia is not the same as multiple personality disorder or split personality. The schizophrenic mind is not split, but shattered. Everyone has seen a street person, unkempt, probably ill-fed, standing outside of an office building, muttering to himself or shouting. This person is likely to have some form of schizophrenia. But schizophrenia presents itself across a wide array of socioeconomic status, and there are people with the illness who are full-time professionals with major responsibilities. Several years ago, I decided to write down my experiences and my personal journey, and I want to share some more of that story with you today to convey the inside view. So the following episode happened the 7th week of my first semester of my first year at Yale Law School, quoting from my writings. My 2 classmates, Rebel and Val, and I had made the date to meet in the law school library on Friday night to work on our memo assignment together, but we didn't get far before I was talking in ways that made no sense. Memos are visitations, I informed them. They make certain points. The point is on your head. Pat used to say that. Have you killed anyone? Rebel and Val looked at me as if they or I had been splashed in the face with cold water. What are you talking about, Ellen? Oh, you know, the usual, who's what, what's who, heaven and hell. Let's go out on the roof. It's a flat surface, it's safe. Rebel and Val followed, and they asked what had gotten into me. This is the real me, I announced, waving my arms above my head. And then, late on a Friday night, on the roof of the Yale Law School, I began to sing, and not quietly either. Come to the Florida sunshine bush. Do you want to dance? Are you on drugs, one asked. Are you high? Hi, me? No way, no drugs. Come to the Florida sunshine bush, where there are lemons, where they make demons. You're frightening me, one of them said, and Rebel and Val headed back into the library. I shrugged and followed them. Back inside, I asked my classmates if they were having the same experience of words jumping around our cases as I was. I think someone's infiltrated my copies of the cases, I've said. We've got a case to joint. I don't believe in joints, but they do hold your body together. It's an example of loose associations. Eventually, I made my way back to my dorm room. And once there, I couldn't settle.
Well, there you go. That's only the other part of the video that I want you to watch.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you why. It's because, you know, sometimes when we kind of like are suffering with mental health or whatever it is, or depression, people soon put us down on labels, give us labels, and say that, you know, that we're a nutter, that we're a freak, whatever. Do you agree?
Yep, absolutely. They do, yeah.
It's really bad, isn't it?
It's terrible. I'll tell you what I picked up from watching that video you've just played there, and it's, I know it isn't the message of the actual video itself, or maybe it is. Maybe this would come out at the end, but it's about, you know, when you said beforehand about how we weren't to be embarrassed about having poor mental health and all the rest of it. She was talking quite consistently about her successes of today, i.e. the job that she managed to sort of like work towards getting, in spite of what was earmarked for her with her condition. You know, it was put to her that she won't do any better than menial work, to having a fantastic husband who she described as the star of the show. So, but she spoke in the same way about her psychotic moments and about her, you know, her illness, shall we say. And there was no masking it. There was no hiding it. She spoke about her successes and her, I don't want to use the word failings, but you know what I'm getting at. The things which perhaps didn't go so well for her, but she didn't hide any of it because it was her. It was all about, this is me, this is what I am, this is where I've been, and you can take it or leave it, basically. That's the angle I thought she was coming from when she was talking about it. She isn't somebody who feels embarrassed about having poor mental health or what have you. It's who she is. It's what she was. It's what she deals with, and that's really how we should all think, and that's how we should all be, really.
and we were talking about it earlier. You know, we were talking about the same thing earlier, and that's why I played that video tape. So, you know, and I think, you know, we shouldn't be, you know, we shouldn't hide behind the stone. We shouldn't be hide behind the wall. Um, we should kind of like say, okay, this is me. This is where I am. So what? You know, let's get on with my life and everything, and that's it. And if what people think, let them think.
Yeah,
You know,
it's like Winston Churchill. You think of Winston Churchill today, and you know, regardless of his political alignments and all the rest of it, and certain things that he may well have done or may well have said in history, but by and large, you think of him as the man who steered us through the Second World War and saw us through to the end of it. But that was also a man that suffered with terrible, terrible depression, the black dog, as he used to call it. And I'm really happy that that aspect of him it comes to mind when you talk about Winston Churchill, and it doesn't in any way detract from that achievement that we all have of him as the man that got us through the war. So what if he had depression? So what if he had the black dog? You
at
know,
the end of the day, we're only people. We're only people.
We can all still achieve great things regardless of the seaweed of misery that's tied around our ankles sometimes, try to pull us down into the sea. We can all do it.
I'm glad you said that, because, and that's what I was into. That you took my words away, and that's what it's all about. Well done, Mark. Well done for saying that. But it's life, mate. It's life, and we all go through bad times. But the trouble is, we've got to kind of like, I know it's difficult. People say, Steve, but you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. But at the end of the day, if we all fall, we got to get back up again, and we've got to dust ourselves off and say, okay, we've experienced that. Okay, I've been told by the doctor I've got depression, whatever. At the end of the day, you've got to move on in life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think we need to accept everybody for what they are, and move on.
And everyone should accept themselves for what they are.
Correct.
You know, and be kind to yourself. Always be kind to yourself.
That's it. You've got to be kind to one another too, ain't you?
Yeah, but yourself first. Not in a selfish way, not in a self-centered way, but be kind to yourself. If you need time out to recover from a trauma, take it, because it's only you that's going to pick yourself up.
That's correct. Well done. Well done, Mark. Thanks very much.
No problem. I will see you Sunday, I believe. Am
Mark Memphis interview?
I believe so, and I might sing a song or two.
Oh, is that about the music? Oh, yeah, music, yeah. Oh,
yeah, so that's when just before you say I'll see you next week, next Monday, I'm just letting you know you'll see me before then.
Yeah, I know. It's right. I don't mind seeing you, Mark. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Memphis, everybody, thank you very much.
Okay, take care, everybody. Be kind to yourselves.
Bow before them. See you later, Mark. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There you go. That was lovely, Mark Memphis. Guys, I'm going to be back around about 10 o'clock tonight. And don't miss it. Be there. Be square. Bye-bye.